Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. You may be seated.
Today's lunch is a cheesesteak sandwich, roasted green beans and potatoes, and assorted fresh fruit.
Here's what I know. Talking about racism just creates more racism. No. First off, race isn't the problem. Racism is. And even if it was the problem, problems don't get worse when you talk about them, and they don't magically go away when you ignore them. Not true. I had 5 cavities, I ignored them, and all 5 of those teeth fell out. Poof. Problem solved. Colorblindness, while nice in theory, has no effect on structural and institutional racism. Racism is a system, and that system benefits certain people at the expense of others. Ignoring it just lets those problems persist. Don't believe me? Let's take a look at some examples where colorblindness doesn't work. Number 1, preschool punishment. Let's face a fact, preschool-aged children of every race are monsters. But according to the U.S. Department of Education Office for Civil Rights report released in 2014, Black children make up 18% of preschoolers, but almost half of all suspensions. Half. And I don't think anybody believes all these preschool teachers are racist out to get little Black children, but the data shows that Black and Latino children often face steeper punishments than their white classmates for the same behavior. That's a problem. And simply believing we shouldn't see race or we shouldn't talk about race does nothing to solve this problem. Number 2, the name study. A study by the National Bureau of Economic Research confirmed that people with ethnic sounding names, that's a whole nother episode, are less likely to get interviewed when they apply for jobs. Meanwhile, applicants with white sounding names actually get 33% more callbacks for interviews. It's the equivalent of having 8 years of additional experience. Shout out to all the white Taquans struggling to get job interviews. And it's not just Black and white. They've done similar studies around the world, and in Canada, people with white sounding names were 35% more likely to get callbacks than people with Indian or Chinese sounding names. So instead of just assuming people shouldn't care about color or names, companies, governments, and schools should take the bias out of hiring and experiment with nameless resumes to, solve the problem. Number 3, renting an apartment. When the Department of Housing and Urban Development and the Urban Institute did a study about real estate, they found that Black, Latino, and Asian renters were shown up to 12% fewer units than white renters. And when the Fair Housing Justice Center used actors to apply for apartments, they found that Black and Latino renters were often told there were no apartments available, while white applicants were shown apartments in the same building. So this building has a pool, a laundry room, and a racist landlady. Colorblindness won't fix housing discrimination. We're going to need smart laws and a concerted effort for that. So tell me again how colorblindness is going to fix the fact that I can't get an education, a job, or a house. In many cases, colorblindness is actively harmful because it creates a false sense of security for the groups it directly benefits. The people who've benefited from systemic racism can assume that they got the job or a house or weren't suspended from preschool simply because they were more qualified or just better. Ignoring race or only acknowledging that it doesn't exist biologically is not a solution to these systemic issues. It takes work, effort, laws, and new systems to undo racism. These differences may seem minute, but they're part of a very large structure of oppression that's been ingrained in us. If we can understand that we made it up, we can actively work to change.
Feels like fuzzy toilet paper.
What? It feels so weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you dig your fingers in there.
Is this slime?
Yes!
That was the easiest thing I've ever. I need help. It feels like hay, but it's like
Hey.
hay. I don't know. It's like kind of like a sponge or something. Like
I didn't know what it was either.
it's like a scrubby thingy. I don't know what the heck they're named.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, some last minute announcements before I sign off. Today is National Mix It Up Day. The day was created as an international campaign that encourages students to identify, question, and cross social boundaries that normally wouldn't take place. So today, during our lunchtime, we will totally mix it up. Attention students that signed up for Math League. Permission slips are due to Miss Goodman or Miss Hubner by this Friday, October 25th. Our first meet is Tuesday, November 5th. See Miss Goodman in room 154 or Miss Hubner in room 109 with any questions or concerns. There will be a Gay Straight Alliance meeting this Wednesday, October 23rd at 2:30 to 4:15 in room 200. We're making gender pronoun buttons, we're having the opportunity for safe space conversations, and new members are always welcome. See Ms. Matei with questions. Any student interested in indoor soccer should stop by room 133 and speak with Mr. Hansen. This is for boys and girls with any ability. Practices at LACC begin in November. Any students interested in playing girls soccer in the spring should attend a meeting in room 133 with Mr. Hansen on October 28th from 2:30 to 3. This meeting is to discuss indoor soccer opportunity and off-season workouts. 2/3 of the AI student body have not turned in their data cards. Dig into the black hole of your book bag, find it, give it to your parents and sign it, quickly put it back in your book bag, and then give it to school and turn it in. See the school nurse with questions. And that is all for today's Tiger Pride News. This is Gavin, and this is also Gavin, signing off. And remember, you cannot hide that Tiger Pride.